What's going on, Pre-PT Nation? If you haven't heard, we have our free PTCAS and supplemental application essay webinar that's going to be held this Saturday, July 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Click on the link in our bio or in the description box down below. If you have any questions or concerns about writing your application essays, you are going to want to attend this event. Also, thank you to our follower who posted this great tip request question asking about what things should I not include in my PTCAS essay. This is a great question, and I wish more applicants would ask this. We would avoid a lot of mistakes. So here are our top 4 things that we would recommend you do not talk about in your PTCAS essay. Number 1, political or hot button issues. You want to make yourself be protected from bias of whoever is reading your essay. For this reason, you should appear politically neutral when you're writing stuff in your essays. The reason for this is obviously, again, we want to avoid the person reading your essay to view you in a certain light or a certain way. And then we also want to show that you are someone who can play nicely with other people who may have different political beliefs than you. Because guess what? There's going to be people in your classes. There's going to be people in the profession when you're working as a physical therapist who think and do things differently than you do and have different beliefs than you do. And we want to show you as someone who can be kind and respectful to others regardless of their beliefs. Okay? So avoid political and hot button issues. The next thing we would avoid a pre-PT travel log. An example of this is an applicant talking about, my freshman year, I want to go to med school, and then I changed my mind and decided I'd be a nurse practitioner or a PA, and then I thought maybe I could do pharmacy school, and then ultimately I decided to become a physical therapist. Please don't talk about how we finally decided to become a physical therapist. The fact that you are writing a PTCAS essay should be obvious enough that you want to go into this profession, okay? So, enough said about that. Avoid the pre-PT travel log. If you are sharing this long, meandering path of how you finally decided to come into this profession, please don't talk about that, okay? Number 3 is to avoid making your entire essay about when you attended physical therapy after you had an injury. Maybe you're in high school or you're in college and you had a really bad injury, okay? There are some ways that you could potentially make this work as a component of your application essay, where you could talk about the strengths that you developed during your rehabilitation, things like that. But the problem I have with these stories is oftentimes applicants are just talking about the strengths of the physical therapist that they worked with and how they loved them and they cared for them and they really made a difference in their life, all those type of things. This is going to roll into my next point, but we don't need to include them in our essay. This essay is about us, okay? And then the other thing that applicants do with this is a lot of times it's kind of like a love letter to physical therapy, where they talk about how passionate they are and how excited they are. And this is good. This is an important thing to talk about, but it doesn't need to take up your entire essay. There's more to you that we need to showcase about why a program should choose you as an applicant instead of just you're passionate about physical therapy. If that was the only requirement to get into physical therapy school, then everybody who applies would get into physical therapy school. But we need to differentiate you and make you stand out from the crowd and not just include the same things in your essay that the majority of people will include in theirs. The last thing that I would avoid including is make sure that your essay is about you and how awesome you are as an applicant. I mentioned this briefly in the last point. So many applicants will talk about a physical therapist that they worked with that was really inspiring to them, that they really liked, or they'll talk about how their parents inspired them, or their grandparents, or a patient that they worked with. Guess what? The physical therapist that you worked with, your parents, your patients, they aren't trying to get into physical therapy school. And even if they are, it's their business. They got to work on it on their own. This essay is about you. So please don't make your essay about how awesome other people are. Your essay needs to showcase how awesome you are as an applicant. If any of these points that I brought up are making you hesitate what you've written so far in any of your application essays, shoot us a DM or comment down below, and we'd love to talk with you about some options we can do to get you set up with some coaching to help you turn your essay around and make it something that's going to be unique and is going to stand out. Thanks so much. Have an awesome rest of your day and happy applying.